So here we are at day 5 of 2024 Advent Code. And again, this is a reconstruction of my doing this, solving the problem this morning in bed. The input is a series of rules. So they're trying to update a safety manual, and the updates have to have pages in specific orders. And so what this 47 vertical bar 53 means that if both 47 and 53 are in the update, 47 has to come before 53. So you have a whole bunch of these rules, and then you have a bunch of proposed updates. So 47 and 53 are in fact both in this first one, and it does come first. So that one meets the criteria. And so let's copy no, actually, let's not do that first. Let's go and make us an Emacs and open up a file and insert our template. So now I'm ready to copy this and insert it as the sample input. And then I need to get my real input. And insert it as well. Let's compile eval buffer. We're going to write it out. So what we need to do for the first part is for these proposed updated rules, we need just to check to see if they're in order. In other words, we need to test the rules and see if they're being met. And for each update that's in order, we're supposed to add up the middle number, page number. So it turns out for the sample, there's these 3 that are in order, and we add up these 3 middle numbers to get 143. So this is fairly straightforward. So the first thing we need to do is rules, strings, and update strings equals split string input string on 2 lines. So that gives us a list of the two parts. Loop for line in split string roll strings by 1 line. So that's going to get us the individual line containing a rule. Each one through there, and we're going to collect. What we'll get is a string of the number. So we want to turn it into an actual list of real numbers. String to number of split string of line by vertical bar. So the line itself will have the thing number, vertical bar number. We split it and get 2 pieces of the 2 numbers. And then we're going to take that list of the numbers as strings and map this function string to number over every one and return a list. And that's what we're going to collect as rules. And then we're going to do the same thing, more or less, for updates. Update strings. I meant to say S here. Oops. New line. So here we're getting the lines of the strings. Collect, map, list, string to number of split string line, but this time on comma. So, so our main loop is for each update that we have. We're going to see if it's a good one or not. For good equals, and the way we do this is we have to check each of the rules. Look for rule in rules for before page, after page equals rule. Each entry is a list of two numbers, and we want to make sure that always it's the case that either null oh no, I'm getting out of house. So first before pause, after pause equals list position before page null and position after page in rule. So that's going to give us the indices of where those particular numbers are in the rule, or nil if they don't. And we're going to make sure that we're always either of them being null means we don't have a matching rule. So we go ahead. I think I got one level of war extra. Or if we have both of them, then before pause must be less than after pause. Otherwise, we have violated the rule. And when good, we're going to sum up the nth. We want the middle entry. So we're going to take the floor of the length of update divided by 2 as the index into update. And I think we're done. So it told us that the answer for the sample was 143, and we did not get it right. So we're doing something silly. Yes, we are doing something silly. It's not the position in the rule, it's the position in the update. We're looping for the rules, but we're looking for the position in the update itself. So let's try that. See if that works better. Indeed. And that gives us the ability to get our first answer, part 1 answer, which is 5452. Let's see if that's right. It is indeed. So in part 2, what we need to do is ignore the good ones, but for the ones that don't match, we're going to have to reorder them so that they become good. And then for all the reordered ones only, we're going to sum up the middle number. And so for our existing first example, that new sum is going to be 123. And so, as usual, we're going to just add another optional argument to say we're doing it in part 2. And so, so we can't just sum directly as the value of the loop. So we're going to sum it into part 1 answer. And then we're going to sum something else into part 2 answer. And this needs to be and not part 2. And so we're only going to sum it when we're not in part 2 and the thing is good. So that means we'll skip the ones that are not good. And then what we want to do for the for reordered equals when part 2, when and part 2 not good. This is the condition under which we want to reorder it. And all we have to do is really sort. So we're going to sort, and sort is destructive, so we have to copy our update. And what we're going to sort it by is a comparison function that we're inventing ourselves that takes the rules into account. So we're going to have a variable bound, which initially is nil, but we're going to set in the course of doing this thing. And we're going to look to see if we have an applicable rule, which is loop for rule in rules for before after equals rule when or. So we have two cases, equal a before, sorry, we need an and in here, and equal a before equal b after. So this is a rule that mentions those two numbers, but we need to do another thing, which is need to set q forward t. So the and will be satisfied because we're all three will be t. So that says a is before and after. So that says we're in the right order. Or and equal b before equal a after. So this applies, but we're in the wrong order. Prog 1t, so we return a t, set q forward to nil. So in either case, we set forward. And so if either of these two is met, we'll return rule. If we never have an applicable rule, we'll return nil. So now inside the let body, we say when applicable rule forward. And that's the result of the comparison function. And so if we say when it's and part 2 not good, we're skipping the good ones in the part 2 case, and floor length update 2. This time reordered is what we're using into part 2 answer. And then finally, if part 2, sorry, we're going to return in either case, return if part 2 answer, otherwise part 1 answer. I believe that's it. Oops, found a rule for rule and rules. Expected a CL keyword, but a loop keyword, but we found a rule. We need return rule. No, that's, where do we get the rule there? We don't need that. Oh, no, that was right. What we're doing here is we do need return. Return, we need a return clause. And I don't know how I did that. It's not what I want to do. So up, 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 up. So that's wrong. Nope, that's not wrong. Okay, I think we've got it this time. So the first thing to do is to make sure that part one still works. It does. It does. So now, this time we should get 123. Oops, again, I forgot. I don't have a separate part two sample. 123. Taking longer. Okay. Let's get that into the buffer. We'll put the other one. No. Okay. So here's our answer. And that's the right answer. So thank you for your attention.